Praise the Lord. Today I would like to discuss about the condensed summary of First Samuel. Summary of First Samuel. The author of First Samuel, it's not authorized version, but still the Samuel, David, Nathan, and Gad no doubt kept the original record from which Isaiah compiled the book about 743 to 683 BC. So it's a combination of different authors. The theme of this book is the First Samuel presents the life history of Samuel, the last of the days of the judges, the moral failure of the priesthood under Eli, the moral failure of the judges under Samuel, the beginning and the failure of the monarchy under Saul, the anointing and trying experience of David, and the end of Saul. The purpose of the original book, now divided into 1st and 2nd Samuel, was written to record history of Israel under the judges, to show the change in the government of Israel from the system of judges to kings, and to record the background of the people through whom the Messiah would come. So the history centers around three characters in this book. The book of 1st Samuel is the history of this book. It centers around three characters. The first person is Samuel, and the second person is Saul, and third person is David. The first person is Samuel, the last of the judges. The second person, Saul, the first king of Israel. The third person is David, Israel's versatile king, or the second king officially. The period of one of the transition, the rule of the judges end and the kingdom is established. The time when the judges end and the kingdom established. The leading topics and the events, if you go through the chapter by chapter, the chapter 1 is talking about the birth and the dedication of Samuel. And chapter 2 verses 12 to 36 says the failure of Eli as judge and parent, because in the Eli is a high priest and he failure of his judgment or as a judge and also as a parent, because his children are not according to his way. Chapter 3 is talking about the Samuel's call and remarkable boyhood, because God find him from the higher and to call him, Samuel, Samuel, I want you to stand, because everything was destroyed, or the catastrophic atmosphere. The church was condemned with the people's the arrogant and also adultery and all kind of fornications happening in the era. And during that time, the God find a child called Samuel, and he stand as a prophet for God. So chapter 3 is talking about the Samuel's call and remarkable boyhood. He also got the favor from the man and also from the God. So chapter 4 to 6 is talking about the capture and the return of the Ark of the Covenant. Chapter 7 is talking about the defeat of the Philistines through the prayer of Samuel. And chapter 8 is talking about the clamor of Israel for a king. Chapters 9 and 10 is talking about the Saul chosen and anointed as king. And chapter 11 is talking about Saul's first battle. And chapter 12 is talking about Samuel's proclaim the kingdom and warns the people concerning their presumptions in demanding a king. And chapter 13 is talking about Saul's self-will and Samuel's prophecy. Chapter 14 verses 1 to 16 says about the Jonathan's deliverance of Israel. Chapter 15 1 to 23 is talking about obedience is better than sacrifice. Chapter 16 is talking about David anointed as king. Chapter 17 is talking about David slays the giant Goliath. Chapter 18 is talking about the friendship of David and Jonathan. Chapter 18 verses 9, 27 verses 4, this till 18 verses 9 to 24, mainly chapter 18 to 27 is talking about the persecution of David by Saul. He escaped. Saul was trying to kill David and he literally the persecution happened by Saul. Chapter 26 to 31 is talking about the last years of Saul's reign and his suicide. Then David become a king. The spiritual message of this book, the book of 1 Samuel, is the prayer, the dominating element in the life of Samuel. So the same way we as a new Christian or the New Testament people like you and I should be, the prayer should be the dominating element in the life of our life. So in Samuel, the spiritual message in this book, the prayer was the dominating element in the life of Samuel, the born in answer to prayer. Chapter 1 verses 10 to 28 says that the element in the prayer is the dominating element. The first point is born in answer to prayer in the Samuel's life, chapter 1 verses 10 to 28. And the second one is name means Samuel, the name means asked of God. That means a prayer. So chapter 1 verses 20. And third thing is prayer brings deliverance at Mizpah. So 7 verses 2 to 13 says his prayer brings deliverance at Mizpah. And chapter 7 verses 2 to 13. And chapter 8 verses 21, his prayer when Israel insisted of having a king. His prayer when Israel insisted of having a king. And fifth point is talking about his unceasing prayer for his people, chapter 12 verses 23. 5 deviation from the divine law which resulted in misery in this book. Nearly 5 deviation from the divine law which resulted in misery. The first one is polygamy, chapter 1 verses 6, and second one is parental indulgence, chapter 2 verses 22, and third one is trust in scared objects, chapter 4 verses 3. Fourth one is impatience, chapter 13 verses 8 to 9. Fifth one, partial obedience, chapter 15. So 5 deviation from the divine law which resulted in miseries are polygamy, parental indulgence, trust in scared objects, impatience, and partial obedience. So the spiritual message of this book is prayer should be the dominating element in our life. And the 3 characters were the Samuel, the last of the judges, Saul, the first king of Israel, and David is Israel's versatile king. God bless you. Amen.